back. This is Midweek Motivation, and I'm your host, Malcolm Brown. And today we're going to talk about living life without limits, all right? Oftentimes we got things that we want to do in life. We have ideas, we have concepts, we got goals. But to be real, when you start off of them, life happens. We get hit with so many different things. You talking about debt, you talking about family, you talking about friends, haters, all these different things. But guess what? Today, I believe you can live your life without those limits. And before we get into this subject of conversation, I want to introduce you all to my special guest. This brother here is a product of Chicago Housing Authority. Grew up in the Robert Taylor homes. Grew up in Inglewood. Went to Kenwood High School. You know, some of the same environments that we came through. But let me tell you something. He surpassed everything, every obstacle that stood in front of him, and he rose to high ranks in his industry. I'm only talking about the one and only Judge John Fitzgerald Lyke Jr. Welcome to the show, my brother.
Thank you, my brother. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so
Indeed.
I was going over your bio online. You know, I had to do some research on you, check you out. And it's funny, I've been knowing you for years, but I definitely had to dive in and do more and more research about you. And I see that you grew up on the South Side, just like me. We Southsiders. I love Harold's Chicken. Yeah, hot mouth, salt and pepper, Harold's Chicken.
Indeed. Give me a 6-piece.
So let's say you grew up in the Robert Taylor homes and in Inglewood, graduated from Kenwood High School. So it sounds like, you know, you had the same type of upbringing that most of us have. You lived that type of experience.
Yes, sir.
You want to talk about that?
Oh, indeed. Well, that's where I got my most valuable education.
Mm-hmm.
Although, you know, I graduated from Chicago State, Kenwood Academy, IIT Chicago Ken Law School. The best education I ever received was from Robert Taylor in Inglewood because it taught me how to survive.
Wow.
It taught me how to avoid certain situations and how to deal with certain situations where I could be successful in life and not let my emotions get the best of me where I end up in front of a judge instead of becoming a judge.
Yeah, we all know we want to stay from in front of you, but go ahead.
So some of the obstacles I ran across was gangs. You know, we all had that, and I grew up in the 80s and whatnot, and that's when the drugs, the crack and all that was exploding in the early 90s. But one thing about the hood is when those brothers recognize that there's some of us who have a chance to get out, got a special talent. For example, we can shoot hoop, we can play football, we're kind of smart. They protect you. You know what I mean? They're not going to allow you to fall victim to that because a lot of brothers says, listen, little shorty out here, you want to be a lawyer. So we ain't going to mess with you because you're going to have to defend something.
You're going to keep us out of jail.
Exactly. So that kept me out of trouble a lot of times. You know, and I had a mama who was a beast. Yeah. Who, you know, when I wanted to stray, she didn't spare no ride. I got my butt whooped. And I stayed focused to what I truly wanted to do.
Well, I thank God for black mothers. My mother was somewhat similar, the same. My mom, you know, a mother's love is unyielding. And what that means is she'll go to any height to keep you, protect you, and to put you on the right track. Tell me a little bit about your mother.
Oh, wow. My mom, which a lot of people don't know, my mom became a nurse. But my mother never graduated from grammar school nor high school. But there was a special program back in the 60s, started under President Johnson. There was a shortage of black nurses. So that's all they required you to do was take this test, pass it, and then take the state boards and pass it, which she did. So she became a nurse, and she worked at one of the most respected hospitals in this city, across this country, in fact, Cook County Hospital. It's called John Stroger now. And she worked in the emergency room. She was a beast of a nurse there, too.
So what I'm picking up is that you grew up in an environment of living life without limits.
Indeed.
You grew up in that environment to where your mom modeled in front of you that no matter what the obstacle is in front of you, that you can't overcome it. Yeah, I didn't graduate high school. I don't.
Or grammar school.
Or grammar school. I don't have a college degree. Education. Most people say that you need education to be successful, but one thing I learned in my life is information can teach you how to do it, but instinct shows you how it works. And your mom had the instinct to know that I need to make it happen.
Indeed.
And you had that model in front of you.
Oh, indeed. And,
wow.
And she was a single mother. It was 6 of us. We got 5 older sisters. I was the youngest. And she was committed to not raising us on welfare.
Wow.
You know, we was on welfare for a little bit. She was committed to not being that example of raising us on welfare for handouts and it shows that hard work pays off.
Wow.
So she's my first role model, my first hero.
Yeah.
Shero, however you want to call it. Indeed, God bless her soul. She's down here smiling upon me now.
Well, I know it feels amazing to know that your mom would and is very proud of you, smiling on you from heaven. Let me ask you something though. So you grew up in this environment that's, it's adverse to the destiny, it's adverse to what you see, it's opposite. How did you navigate through that and not get pulled in? Because oftentimes they say you become a product in your environment.
You got to be focused, and I knew that I wanted to do bigger and better things. In fact, I think I shared this with you earlier. I wanted to represent us. When I say us, I'm talking about black folk who was from low income, from the quote unquote the ghetto. Yeah. Someone who can talk and fight for them, because I went through a lot of stuff growing up, not only through the gangs but also police. Yeah. Ran into bad police a lot who would pull us over while we're walking. Get y'all black ass on the cop, search us for no reason, smack us upside the head, kick us in the ass, and we didn't do anything. And I said, this can't be right. And so I wanted to fight for people who looked like me and who was the voiceless. Yeah. And that's what motivated me to stay on the right track, to become a lawyer, where once I started speaking in the courtroom, everybody got to shut up, including the judge.
I love it, man. I love it. It's so many things I want y'all to pick up from this. One, it's really not about where you come from. I oftentimes say this: just because you grew up in the hood don't mean you got to stay there.
That's right.
I truly believe that God will allow you to be born in the area because he's going to take you out and elevate you to heights to which you never even thought you would make it to. But guess what? You have a heart from which you came from, and that will lead you back to the same place to help those people. So let's talk a little bit more about how you got into criminal defense. You started your own law firm and how you were helping your people. I'm going to start it when I was in law school with my mentor. Yeah. His name is Justice Erickson. He's retired now. He was my professor who taught me how to be a trial lawyer. Yeah. I was part of his national trial team, world-renowned national trial team. By the way. We kicked butt in that trial team. And he came to me one day. He says, he used to always call me young man. Young man, so what do you want to do? I said, I'm going to be a defense attorney because I want to represent my people. I want to fight for my people. He's like, young man, I'm taking you to lunch. We're going to talk. I'm like, fine. So we go to lunch. He takes me to this nice Italian restaurant near 26 in California. We sit down talking. I explained to him why I wanted to be a defense attorney. He said, no, you need to become a prosecutor. I'm like, a prosecutor? I said, absolutely not. I'm not sending my people to jail. Too many of us in jail and incarcerated. I'm not going to add to that. He says, well, let me ask you a question. Can a defense attorney dismiss a case? I'm like, no. Can a dismiss attorney reduce the charges? No. If the defense attorney knows his client is being treated unfairly, unjustly, how can he help him? Well, he can defend him. But you as a prosecutor can dismiss the case or reduce the case. Wow, aha moment. Indeed. He says, and not only that, defense attorneys, you as a defense attorney, you'll probably have 100 clients. As a prosecutor, you on every case that comes through the systems. So in about 50,000 cases come through Cook County. Wow. You on each and every last one of those as a prosecutor. So you can do more good for your people than you could as a prosecutor than you ever would as a defense attorney. So really change your whole perspective about what you were planning to do, because now he opened up a new lane for you. He sure did. He showed you something different. Indeed. Wow, that's amazing. So what happened after that? Well, I told him I had one major obstacle about becoming a prosecutor, and that's my mama. My mama gonna be like, oh no, you ain't sending no young black boys to prison, none of that. But he gave me ammunition. He says, okay, I understand that. He said, ask your mama one question. I'm like, what? Ask her if someone hurt you, shot you, or hurt you in some significant way, would she want justice for you, or she want him to, because he's black possibly, to just go free? And so I'm like, wow, that was another aha moment. So that's what I did. I went home and told her, and she snapped it. She's like, oh, no way, you ain't being no prosecutor. You gonna be a defense attorney? That's what you want to do? I'm like, Mom, I got one question for you. What? If I got hurt or shot in some significant way, would you want the perpetrator, if he happens to be black, to go free? Oh, absolutely not. He should get the death penalty. Exactly. That's what prosecutors do. Yeah. They look out for victims. So she looked at me and said, all right, boy, go ahead. And so that changed my direction. And it gave me an opportunity to learn the system from the inside. Because I was working with police every day.
You know what I'm saying? So I got to learn which police were bad, which detectives were bad, and all that. I got to see a lot of judges as well. Which ones was good, which ones was bad. And I learned so much about how the system truly works. Stay tuned for my book. It's coming out.
Prosecution, you make that merge to defense. We're going to get more into that story when we come back after this quick commercial break. Good. Calling all entrepreneurs, thought leaders, influencers. Hey, if you got a small business, you need to be in the building November 25th. I'm Malcolm Brown from MB Inspires, your host of Midweek Motivation. And we're bringing it here to Chicago. Guess what? We're doing a live studio audience November 25th. And you don't want to miss this event. I'm bringing in one of my special guests, good friend of mine, thought leader. I'm talking about one of the greatest businessmen of our generation, I believe. The man behind multi-million-dollar deals. Look, he's going to come in and give us business advice on how to build our small businesses and how to go to the next level. I want y'all to be there. In the words of my man, Bishop T.D. Jakes, get ready, because we going to the next level. You don't want to miss this. November 25th. I'll see y'all there. So we're back from commercial break. So before we went to commercial, we was talking to the judge about his journey from college to the bench. And we got to a segment where he was talking about criminal defense. I know him to be a criminal defense attorney because I write about it in my book. A couple years ago, I got into some trouble. I was coming from my business. I had a firearm on me, a loaded firearm, protecting myself, and I got stopped by the police. End up getting charged with what you call an aggravated UUW. This is a term that's very familiar in our city, Chicago. A lot of boys, black boys, fall subject and victim to this charge. We want to talk a little bit about that and about that process.
About the process when I represented you?
Yeah, let's talk about that. I'll let you tell about it. I was scared. I'm going to tell y'all first.
Yeah, this brother came to me. He hired me to represent him, and I knew he was different from most of the clients I have, that he's not a part of this system. First and foremost, as you see how dapper he is, he was always clean from the moment I laid eyes on him. You know what I mean? And we come to court, a lot of people confused him with being a lawyer because he was so sharp. You know what I'm saying? So I knew, and when he told me what happened, I knew I had to give it my all, and that's what we did. We put up a spirit of defense. I knew this brother wasn't the typical client. He went out there being a riffraff. He had his own business. He was grinding. And I met this brother, in fact, when I used to get my hair cut. Before he had the big old nice shiny tattoo parlors, he was learning his craft at the barber shop in the back. And I used to always just watch him. I never really spoke to him, but I just used to watch him to see how hard he worked. I'm like, okay. And I'll see you. And then all of a sudden, he comes to me for some help. And indeed, I was going to help him, and we were successful in the case. He won his case, and now as you see him, he's a very successful young man and my mentee. When you have a mentor, you don't choose your mentor chooses you, so people should know that. So I chose him as being my mentee, and I'm going to help this brother as long as I have breath.
And I gotta say, I'm extremely humbled and grateful because I remember that time in my life. You're talking about, I'm fresh out of my mom's house. I started the business with good faith that it was going to work. All I wanted to do was honor a promise I made my mom. She believed in me and gave me an opportunity to become an artist. I started off at the house, went to the barbershop, built a clientele, left the barbershop, opened up a studio, and things were going really well. Left the studio, went back to my mom's house just to reposition myself, end up opening the business. Now I'm running the business, operating the business, but I have to protect the business. So yes, I got me a firearm. I had my FOIA card. I was going to get the CCW, but the CCL. I was going to get the CCL, concealed carry license. And in the middle of all of that, I ended up getting stopped by the police, and my life hit a pause. And now everything that I worked for, my reputation, everything was on the line. And God sent this man in my life, and it's amazing because oftentimes you look for people to be an umbrella for you, to cover you from the rain. But I can honestly say when you came into my life, you was more than just an umbrella. You was more so of a tent, a place of shelter, a place of a covering that I could trust in. There was no point during our case where I felt as if I was going to lose. even though we had hit some tough times in the case.
We did.
If y'all want to hear more about that, you can definitely read my book. Read this book and you'll hear more about that. But we had some very tough times in our case. And I never forget you told me this. I said, so what's going to happen now? You said, well, you could go to jail, but it's my job to keep you out. And you did just that. And we end up, by the grace of God, beating that case. And I got a lifelong mentor. But I want to say one more thing that you did for me that really changed the whole trajectory of my life and the way I looked at myself and I thought about who I was. After this case, you invited me out to, I believe it was a campaign meeting he was having. Fundraiser he was having. And I got to this fundraiser, I found my best suit and tie, came out.
Yeah, he was shy.
And I came out, didn't know what to expect. But when I walk into this room, I don't know nobody. And this guy comes from the middle of the room and say, hey, Malcolm, come here. Put me in the room in front of all his friends, family, and colleagues and say, hey, this is Malcolm Brown. You need to know Malcolm. Malcolm's my man. And that changed my whole life. It changed the way I looked at myself. It changed the relationships that I have. It changed everything. And I just want to tell you, I thank you for that.
That's dope, as y'all say.
That was dope.
Hey, you know what? Talking about that situation, in fact, it was one of my fundraisers when I was running for judge. And I just wanted, and most of the people in that room was of the other persuasion, if you remember. A lot of prominent lawyers were in there, from major law firms and what have you. A lot of political figures and whatnot. And I just wanted to spotlight a young brother so they could know that we all aren't doing this type of negative stuff, that we have some positive young brothers out here who just need to see, like I'm being a member of the 100 Black Men, the motto is what they see is what they'll be. And I wanted to spotlight you to show that you had a little hiccup in your life and you didn't let that stop you and you were destined for bigger and better things. And I wanted to spotlight you and I wanted all of them to look at you and I wanted all of them to clap for you, which they all did.
Yeah, it was amazing, man. I'm talking about it. It was an amazing piece of revelation for me in my life because I was able to see myself for who God's really calling me to be. And you was able to validate that. And I just thank you for that. But y'all can give me the crying up in here, man. I ain't gonna do this on camera. Woo! Let me get it together. All right, cool. So, because of that experience, and I know I'm not the first or the last person that you see that go through such a situation like that. What advice do you give? What advice can we give people that are watching that are walking around with a gun? May not be on dirt. May not be trying to do anything to anybody. You just want to protect yourself, protect your family. What advice do you give them?
To follow the law, first and foremost. We have a law down in Illinois that allows you to carry a gun legally if you're 21 years of age or older.
Can we dive into that real quick? What's the process?
Process, first and foremost, you have to get a FOID card. That's a firearms owner's identification card, and that's not much. You just fill out the form, pay your fee, and send it to the Illinois State Police, and they'll send you what's called a firearms identification card. After you do that, you have to apply for your concealed carry license. You do the same thing. You got to fill out the application, send your money in, and then the state police will make a determination whether or not you meet the criteria. You can't be a convicted felon. And there's some other things, mental health issues, whatnot. But other than that, follow the law. 21 years of age and older, fill out those two, get the FOID card, get the CCL. Then you don't have to worry about becoming in front of a judge for possessing a gun that's illegal.
Yeah. Now, there's a lot of black boys that do, unfortunately, stand in front of a judge. And all of us are not bad people. But I want to tell y'all something. He said something a while ago when he first met me. I came to court dressed. Let's talk about court appearance.
Indeed.
Let's talk about court appearance and court ethics when you come to stand in front of a judge.
It goes without saying.
Please help these people.
What's the old saying that we learn is your first impression is your lasting impression. You know what I mean? So, particularly for judges, we don't know you from Adam. Only thing we know is what you was charged with. If you come in suited and booted like you always were, the judge is going to treat you with the utmost respect. He's going to call you sir, she's going to call you sir and whatnot, because you're respecting them.
You're respecting the court. You're respecting tradition. Sort of like back in the day, you can go, when I used to go to church, we had to be suited and booted.
Yeah.
Now you come as you are, and I get that. But courtroom, you can't just come as you are. You can, but it's going to send a message and a wrong message, all right? When you walk up in front of me, in fact, I don't allow it. If a young man is walking up in front of me when his name is called and his pants are sagging, nah, dude, he gonna pull up his pants. You got one or two choices. You can pull up your pants, you going back, one or the other. You're gonna treat this courtroom with dignity and respect. The courtroom is one of the last bastions of civility in America, in my humble opinion, because there's a lot of disrespect going out for authority figures, for police officers, judges, even lawyers, that type of thing. But coming to court sends a message. If you come suited and booted like you always did, Malcolm, that's the way to do it. I understand even if you don't have a suit, a nice shirt and tie, make it clean, have your pants not hanging off your butt. Young ladies too, you come appropriately dressed as well. Skin tights and all that, no, that's not a good look, you know what I mean? So that sends a message to the judge, and it sends a message to all the other people in the courtroom when you come appropriately dressed. Also, when a judge is asking you a question, I get this quite often. Sir, is your name Malcolm Brown? Yeah.
Real quick, please look into that camera and tell them what they supposed to do.
So ask you a question. Do not say yeah or no. The answer is yes or no. Yes, sir. No, sir. Because that judge is going to make a decision that's going to affect your life one way or the other, positively or negatively. And what energy you give off is the same energy he's human or she's human. They're going to give off similar energy. If you show respect, they're going to show respect.
Wow. So look, man, I think that's going to save a whole bunch of people's lives, man. Look, y'all got to understand, when y'all walk into these courtrooms, you are representing yourself, and you're fighting against dedicated police officers, decorated police officers, and a piece of paper that says everything that you did wrong. And you only got one opportunity to say what you're doing right. And that comes by body language and the way you represent yourself. You want this man that's sitting on this bench to believe everything that you're saying out your mouth or your defense attorney is saying. So you gotta make them believe it. Wear a suit, represent yourself well, hold your head up high. Though you made a mistake, hold your head up high. You know.
Or you might be accused of making a mistake.
You may be accused of making a mistake. Hold your head up high, represent yourself well, and show respect for the courtroom. And I promise you, it may change the whole narrative in the courtroom. Let's talk about something that's really, really, really going on. You see it all on social media, right? It's a huge conversation around this topic. Dealing with the police. Traffic stops, dealing with the police.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we've seen plenty of people, unfortunately, be gunned down by the police in the streets and traffic stops. We've seen people be abused, excessive force be used. What advice would you give our viewers on dealing with the police, encounters with the police?
Well, legally, I can't give legal advice. I'm just giving you my personal opinion, what I tell my sons, all right? When a police officer stops you, I'm looking in this camera, I guess, right? All right.
Yeah, that one.
All right. Police officer stops you. Let me give you an example of what I would do.
Yeah.
I think that's best. And I know all my rights. I know the Constitution backwards and forward. Please stop me. This is what I do. Wearing lights, particularly when I'm not dressed like I am, in a suit and whatnot. I'm chilling. I got my music bumping. I'm listening to Tupac or NWA or something like that. I got my cap on backwards. I got my jeans on. I got my white tee on. All right, so they don't know who the hell I am, right? But this is how I'm gonna play it. They gonna come up. I'm gonna have my hands at 10 and 2. When they come up, sir, you got a license and insurance? Yes, sir, I do. And I'm gonna ask him. I'm not gonna move. I'm gonna ask him, sir, can I get it? Can I get my license and insurance? Wait for him to tell me yes before I move my hands. And I'll tell him, listen, sir, my wallet is in my back pocket with my driver's license, my insurance is in my glove box. Can I get them? Tell me yes. I go ahead and give it to him. He run and come back, even if he comes back and he's on some BS. Well, sir, where you coming from? Officer, you know what? I just really want to go. Well, I don't give a damn what you want to do. I'm asking you a question. Officer, with all due respect, I'm not going to answer that question. Oh, I got a smart ass, huh? No, you don't, officer. Get the hell out the car. I'm not going, and this is where we go wrong. I know my rights. I don't got to get out the car. I want a white shirt. I ain't rolling down the window. wrong move. Bottom line, you getting out the car,
Yeah.
one way or the other.
Yeah.
Either you're gonna get out on your own or they're gonna pull you out.
Yeah.
So I'm not going through all of that. What I tell my sons and what I do myself, I become a witness. Get your black ass out the car. Fine, I get my black ass out the car.
Yeah.
Take your black ass to the back and spread your legs, put your hands on the hood or whatever. I do that. I'm gonna do it. But what I am doing in my mind, I'm looking at his badge number or his name. I'm looking at his eye color. And then if I see his car, I'm getting the last 3 numbers of that license plate. I'm gonna try to remember what type of car. If it's an unmarked car, whatever, I'm getting the last 3 numbers. If it's a marked car, I'm getting the last 3 numbers. Because I might not be able to remember the whole number. I'm becoming a witness for myself. My mission, as well as the mission I tell my sons, is your job is to get home alive.
Yeah.
I will deal with them in court, or your lawyer that I get for you will deal with them in court. Bottom line. But your job is to get home alive. You will not win on the street. The police run the street, be they right or wrong. There's bad in all professions. There's some bad judges, there's some bad lawyers, there's some bad cops. Your job is to get home alive and become a witness, all right? So after he checked me out and found out I don't have nothing, all right, you take your black ass on. Fine. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna file a complaint. Because I got information, I'm going straight to the police station.
Yeah.
I'm filing a complaint, I'm gonna tell them who it was, because they'll know who it is. If you're in the suburbs, and it's not that many of them, and if in the city, I got information. They know the area I was in, they know the last 3 numbers of the license plate, and all of that, and this cop is gonna be in trouble. And not only doing it just for me, take me out of the equation, just for the average citizen who's not a judge or whatnot. If many of us who get maltreated, complain, he's gonna start getting a reputation and a record. It's gonna pile up. So once he does something over the top against somebody, they can know that this ain't the first time this officer has done it. Even if no justice came to you, you looking out for the next person down the road that this person might wrong.
Exactly. Wow. And one thing that I really got out of this whole scenario and instruction that he just gave us is this. You don't meet aggression with aggression, because it's just going to escalate the situation.
Yes, sir.
You know, a small traffic stop should not turn into death.
Not at all.
You know, and sometimes, y'all, we got to put our pride in our back pocket so we can go home. Stop pulling out your camera phone. Stop aggravating these people. They have a job to do. Let them do their job and go
I suggest you pull
home.
out the camera phone. You want to film it.
Well, let them film it. He say film it.
Or turn it up.
I say
Now,
just
if they tell you stop filming and all that, do what you make the call then. But if you can record it in some significant way, do so.
I say
because that's evidence.
He say film it. He the judge. Listen to him. I just say, look, don't aggravate these people, because they are people too. They could have been having a bad day. Don't aggravate them. Don't give them a reason to mistreat you. All right, so look, y'all, we running out of time. We have an amazing interview with Judge John Fitzgerald Lyke Jr. But before we get out of here, a brother that comes from where we come from, a brother that represents us in the courtroom and also in day-to-day life, that gives back, that helps, that has a heart for the young black man and our community and young black women. I want you to give them, look into this camera or that camera, give them some advice. Let's talk to them about living without limits. Let's talk to them about, rising to their fullest potential. Let's talk to them about not letting their environment stop them.
Exactly.
To give them some advice.
Exactly. And
Hunter Black Man. I do other community work through Bright Star Community Outreach. And whenever I'm invited to a school or a church or a community center, I'm coming, particularly if I can address some of our young brothers and sisters, because you're the next generation. And after you, the following generation, we want everybody to be around and be successful. Always remember that whatever you put your mind to, you can do. Don't let anyone, I guess you guys call them haters now, use that hater for haterade. You just add that on, that's be fuel to your fire to keep propelling you forward. When you're dealing with these police officers, be respectful. Your job is to get home alive. We've seen too many instances where that didn't happen. Just de-escalate as best you can. But always remember, you got to live life without limits. Whatever you want to be, you can be. And the motto of 100 Black Men, what they'll see is what they'll be, And so that's why I try my best to always get out and talk to our people the best I can to try to be a motivation, inspiration to those who may have some challenges in their life. But don't let anything stop you, period.
So I just want to thank you again, brother, for being a part of this amazing show,
My pleasure.
for sharing your wisdoms and sharing your knowledge. Remember, live life without limits. There's a seed inside of you. The world is waiting on you. You have greatness inside of you. And if you want to read more about me and the Judge encounter, you can pick up my book, 10 Miles to Destiny. You can find it on Amazon. And follow us, subscribe, like on YouTube. I love y'all. I'm going to see y'all again. This is Malcolm Brown. This was Midweek Motivation. Yo, what's going on? It's your brother Malcolm Brown, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Look around, like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget, leave something in the comment section for me. I want to hear from you. See you again.
Living life in the fast lane, trying to decrease. It's hard holding on to your past when you're trying to be free. Tell you like a wise man told me, you got to release.